Hey Jammers, it's Mama Jammer here, and this week I decided to take a little break and I'll give my shoulder a break and also start to make my parental reference books, which was a conversation earlier. These are store-bought with a piece of wood, really cool. Love them in Rosabella's room, but I wanted one for each individual character and showing their story and their fairy tale, and then I specifically wanted to put their name on the back of each one. So this is what I did. Now I got a whole bunch here. Even if you don't want them for the rooms and you're not in Ever After High, you can use the ideas for anything, or just use this and make something similar for library books. It's just foam, print paper, and I did cover them with tape. Take a look. First, I will show you my very barbaric work on the computer to get the graphics. There'll be a jump point down below if you just want to know how to put them together. Graphics are up to you. I am sure some of our jammers are far more advanced at this, so this is just an overview of what I like to do. I like my own orientation in landscape, and I like to put a border around it to give me some guidelines while I make my squares. Copy and paste becomes my absolute best friend to try to go through this very quickly and get a bearing on how many of these I can fit per page. 20 is the magic number, and remember these rectangles will be folded to have a front and a back to each book. I just pop in my search, whichever fairy tale I'm looking for, look through the pages and the pictures and decide what I like. Remember, I own none of these. These are all copyright. For personal use like this, I believe is okay. I am not selling these, just showing you ideas, reporting to you the information on how you can do this yourself. Next, I use my shape fill so that I can use a different color to fill in my text box, and then I will match them up, make different colors. Then I'll use my shape outline to delete the outline. So when you cut, you don't have to go by that black line, and if you miss it, it won't show. You'll just have the color as your background. That is super handy to know. Here I'm working on just one text box, adding another text box to put in my name, changing the script, getting the size I like, and making it nice. This is the easiest way to do it. That square might be too big, but when you cut it, you can match it up to the front of it and get your size. That gives you a little more wiggle room if you're not so confident in your cutting. Don't ask me why I was working on this upside down. Most important is to make sure you have your front on the right side and your writing on the left side, no matter which way you do it. So here I've done my writing with the names, and once again, copy and paste is going to be my good buddy. And when I make the name, I'm just going to copy paste it, drop it down, change the name to the new name, and then that just saves me a bunch of clicks. Now for the more advanced way of doing it, you can make two text boxes, match them together. Of course, make sure your front is on your right and your back is on the left. Match them up, be absolutely positive to get your measuring right on the left and correct on the left and the right. I use the same process, of course, to put the filler in the background, and then I use my outline tool to get rid of the black outlines once again to make future cutting easier. Time to print! So I made two master copies with my printer, and then it's smart if you want to share with friends having done all this work, and in case you make mistakes, go copy some at the local print shop for your friends. That also saves you a lot on printer ink. So I designed these in mind for this thickness of foam board, which is just one fold. That's other stuff is good, but you'd have to do two folds and accommodate for it. You can use either glue you like. I prefer to use hot glue because I'm lazy. Simple as that. I cut them out in strips first and then individually without touching the edges yet. This part is optional. I like to put a piece of tape on it to protect the ink and to give it that shine, gives it another dimension. You don't have to do that. That's optional, but I like it. Once again, I almost got so focused that I kind of was going ahead and forgot to show you this. A 9x12 will do 50 pieces for you. Those are just ballpark measurements. So now I'm holding in my hand a piece that I'd already cut almost perfectly, just to show you at this point how you're only going to need one piece and how it fits, and kind of go a little knot off to the edges so it has that look of a book. I will show you in just a minute how to make that cut very nicely. So here now we have this piece. We're going to fold it over. I like to put it against the light so I can match up, and it was hard to show on film, but if you put it up against the light, you can kind of see one side from the other and match it up. See right there? You can match it up really nicely and get your crease right down the middle. Cutting the craft film. Just take your little ballpark strips, which you know are close, hold it up just like that, really nice and close. That's going to give you an idea. None of these are going to be perfect or all the same. Well, thanks to Panda for snoring. But you can see I just put marks about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, and then simply cut it. When you use your glue and set it in, then you can line it up nicely. I think you'll find this a little more precise than having cut the rectangle out before we did this. Nice smooth cuts, don't chop, chop, chop. Put your scissors on there, line it up, and swipe it down. Now you have both sides, or every edge is perfectly cut, will match up when you open the book. And now you have, now if you have a little there, you can still trim that off, and still your front and back are always the same. Take our little piece of craft foam and put it in there. It will need a little trim to fit perfectly. Takes a little time, but it ends up looking really nice. So here you could stop, just put some hot glue. I tend to put the hot glue on the book, not on the foam, and then just squeeze it together, being careful not to squeeze it out, and you'll have a beautiful little book. Or, like in my Monster High library, I felt the inside edges looked way better when they had a color, not just white. So I've done this. Do not use Sharpie. Throw it out. Just use a regular marker. And still you have to be careful of seepage. I did this as an example. Yeah, check out that Super Buddies Forever book. You can see the one on the right is with nothing, and the one on the left is with some of that stuff. And it's seeped through like crazy. So be very careful of what you use and pay attention to your seepage, because it can ruin the front. So whether you decide to do the edging inside or not, you're still going to have a beautiful book that will work for your library or whatever purpose you like it for. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Here's a couple views of the different angles of these books. I think they look fabulous when they're all set side by side like this. It's certainly looking like a library, and I think the cost of this was only about, what, $2? The time spent on the computer is a different story. That took me, no lie, 6 hours. Darling, we know you like to read, but girl, clean your room. See you next time, everybody.